Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
Razzaban for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Yes, I only interviewed him about 6 days ago, but boxing changes. There's always new stories, and it's always good to get thoughts from Dave Coldwell himself. Dave, how are we doing?
I'm all right, thank you. Not too bad. Not too bad.
How's life? How's family? Everybody okay?
Yeah, they're good, thanks. We're just going best we can, same as everybody else. Do you know what I mean? It's I think things are getting a little bit frustrating now, aren't they? We want to get going. We want to start. We want live rather than exist. I think there's a big difference between existing and living. And although we're in better circumstances than a lot of people, I still just want to get going. I want to get cracking again.
I know we spoke a little bit about these restrictions that are currently on different parts of the country in our last interview, but obviously they've talked about and they've been advised to have this circuit kind of break. I know certain countries are doing this across half term and extending half term, but it seems like our government isn't moving towards it just yet.
The thing is, another lockdown was just going to put a lot of businesses out of operation. I've said it before. There's a lot of people that have just got through that last lockdown by the skin of their teeth. And although it's great, tie it in with 2 weeks through the kids' holidays and stuff like that. Well, bills don't stop during kids' holidays. Businesses don't stop going under and struggling through kids' holidays. They have to keep carrying operating, and while there's these restrictions that are essential on income for businesses and for people that are living, there's income restrictions, but expenditure restrictions don't happen. You can say that some people are going to be getting 2/3 of the wages or their income, but they're not paying 2/3 of the bills. So I don't profess to have the answers, but I do know that the spin-offs and the collateral damage towards trying to squash this virus that they've been doing for a while, the collateral damage is far, far more potent and deadly and destructive than what the actual amount of people that are being affected by this virus is.
Do you think, I know we're here to talk about boxing, but I want to ask you this, but do you feel like we've lost control? We've got certain parts of the country.
Have we ever been in control? Because whatever they did through listening to the scientists that they've got on board, let's remember that they've got, scientists are like doctors, are like boxing experts, football experts. Everybody has an opinion based on what they know, what they've researched, what they've studied, but doesn't mean that man's opinion, because he has letters after his name, doesn't mean that he knows more than another scientist, because the scientists are all arguing amongst themselves. Some scientists and doctors are saying one thing, the others are saying another thing, but we've followed, what government and their advisors have been doing for a long time now. We went into a lockdown and we did what we were told to do, but when we come out of lockdown a little bit, it spikes back up. So is this how life's going to be? We're going to go into lockdown, suppress it, come out of lockdown, it goes back up, go into lockdown. How can you sustain a business? How can you sustain a life, a lifestyle, a way of living, of normality, if that is what's going to happen. There are no plans then, because you don't know when the spike is going to be. You don't know, is this how you're going to have to do? So travel industry is done. So many other industries are going to be done. So many people are going to be losing their homes. People don't understand yet. Come November, December, that's when it's going to start hitting. I think the actual furlough end October, end of the October, I think it actually ends. I think once that kicks in and people aren't getting this money, then you're going to see a lot more people that are skinned, a lot more people that lose homes, a lot more people that are going to be stressing about how to feed the kids. That's when things are going to start hitting the fan. That's when you're going to see businesses starting to, I know there's a lot that have lost their jobs already, but once the furlough ends, there's going to be a hell of a lot of people that are losing jobs. Or they brought this other thing in, or they're bringing this other thing, but it's not the same. It's not enough. It's not enough for a lot of people. And then once that kicks in, then people are going to realize what kind of mess financially we're in, because they're only just starting to realize. And the longer things go, it's like our sport. Fighters have had to take it on chin that this year we're going to get 1 fight, 2 fights this year max. If this is carrying on going forward, and look at even shows that are happening now, there's tests failing and things like that. You imagine how many more. How next year, does it look like it's going to clear up for next year? So next year, are they going to be back to 4 fights, 6 fights? Are they going to be back to that? No, they're not. Likely the thing is that they're going to be, but 2 fights. If they're looking 2 fights, if you're with a major promoter and you're valued by that promoter, you're going to be getting a couple of fights a year. This is kind of like, while you're in the first bit, you're kind of accepting, okay, that's me fine, but we're going to get moving soon. But if you keep doing the same things and they're not working, all you're doing is stopping momentum, majority of people getting on with their lives and living. So it's just going to be a circle. It's just going to be a complete it's just going to be a repeated circle. And yes, there's again, we're back on news where everything is doom and gloom. Everything is like, oh, this is, they're talking like when we was at the peak last time. They're talking about figures of cases. That last time it was all about the amount of deaths. This time it's all about the amount of cases, not deaths. I know they're saying that deaths are going to follow, but it just seemed as though this time around, everybody's getting it this time round. Seems to be getting it like a cold, like a flu, and they were being rough for a while, and then they're all right. It's strange on this time round as well, because the first time during the first wave, it seemed like you didn't know anybody that had it. Nobody had it, and there was certainly no like real, not many at all, like big names or high profile people got it. This time round, everybody's got it. Everybody's got it, and everybody famous is getting it. Ronaldo, Donald Trump. Over here, you've got Eddie and Barry. You've got big names getting it. You've got fighters failing. Oh yeah, Boris Johnson. Yeah. But what I'm saying is you're getting high profile people are getting it, but they're getting it and they're quite all right. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird this time around. It seems like everybody's got it this time around. Everybody's failing tests, but it's still figures. You got to look at it. It's still something that 99% of people of the population are going to be fine with. I say fine, but going to be, not greatly affected by it. But that 99% of the people that are not going to be affected by it really, or not going to get it, they're suffering the consequences of it. And this is where it's just. Listen, I just think that we're crippling everything. Everything's getting crippled. There's no able to plan. You can't plan a business. You can't plan a career. Fighters now are getting to the point where they're like, what's happening with my career? Because at the end of the day, yes, all well and good, but that's their livelihood. And it's a year taken out of their career. If it doesn't, things don't start moving the next year, then it's going to be another year. What happens? What, a year, 2 years out of a fighter's career is a long time.
We saw yesterday news announced Peter Fury tested positive, which obviously meant Savannah Marshall couldn't fight, and we don't know if she's going to get another slot this year in a very tight calendar of boxing. So again, just as you just said, fighters don't get the opportunities, and when they do have the opportunities, and something like this does happen, it now tarnishes probably the rest of the year for her, and she'll have to go again sometime next year.
Yeah, and as far as fighters are concerned, this is their livelihood. You don't fight, you don't get paid. A fighter doesn't fight, the trainer doesn't get paid. It's just, this is our business. This is our livelihood, and I know people like to jump on you whenever you talk about this and saying people need to get on with being able to earn a living. Then people jump on your back and they say, "Oh, you're putting money above health." And no, it goes hand in hand. The facts are, you cannot live a healthy lifestyle, normal lifestyle, unless you are earning money. If you are, because if that's the case, then why are people on low incomes and struggling with money and on poverty lines? Why are their health issues consequently higher? Why do we always see more problems with health with people in low incomes and that sort of scope? Because it's tied in. Not only are you talking about physical health through diet, through junk food is easier to come by and cheaper to buy in the majority of places than what healthy food is. I know people say, "Oh yeah, but you can get this." No, I'm talking. Listen, there are people that through convenience will buy stuff that's convenient to buy because loads of kids have got no time, they've got work, everybody trying to juggle everything. It's easy for us to be able to sit and say, "No, you should prepare your food, prepare your kids' food. This, you should do that. You should that." In an ideal world, everybody would want to do that. Every parent would want to do that. But through lack of education, through lack of opportunities, time management, and funds, a lot of people will feed the kid. Sorry, I just lost you then. Somebody just tried to ring me. Sorry. A lot of people will feed the kids junk food because it's cheaper or more convenient. So when people have got no money coming in, it's very difficult for them to provide a decent sort of lifestyle for the kids health wise. When you talk about you can talk about mental health and everything. When people aren't earning an income that's going to help them to pay the bills, when a bill comes through and they're thinking that affects their mental health. There's so many offshoots of this where it's not just a case of, you're just thinking about money. No, because money and health goes together, be it mental health or physical health, dietary health, it all goes together. And people need to be able to afford make a living so they can provide for the family, so they don't stress and strain, so they're not committing suicide because they feel as though they can't provide for the family. They feel, they're feeling as though there's no way to get out of this hole that they're in. And these sort of things are all on the uptake. Do you know how many messages I've been getting? Do you know what? I'm getting a lot. I am getting a little bit pissed off with the situation now. It's not. I'm not blaming anybody or anything, but something needs to be done so people can get back to living and earning. Because my inbox is going. I get a lot of message off people that are struggling with mental health, but lately, and I'm talking about in the last 2 weeks, it's going up and up. I'm talking about people that are talking about suicide to me. This is serious shit. It's not just you're reading the statistics. I'm getting message off of actual people telling me their problems, telling me how they feel. And it's hard, man. It's hard, and you can say all you want, and I can say all I want, but it's stemming because they're worrying because they've got no money. They can't afford things. Somebody couldn't afford to buy to get their daughter, who's, I know it's only a young daughter, but couldn't afford presents for the kid. That's bad. When you got people reaching out like that, they're talking about committing suicide because they feel worthless, because they can't even do that for the child. Because they've lost a job, because they can't see an end to this. And it's easy to say, oh, you've got kids, you shouldn't be thinking like that. It's easy to think that, but you can't just say that. It's not about that. You have to look at the surrounding issues. And it's bad. I'm noticing a lot more in my inbox, a lot more. And that's because the circumstances we're in, and it's only going to get worse. So if I seem to be banging on about it a little bit, it's because it's, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing how it's affecting people, and it's not nice. And it's quite scary, because it's just going to affect more and more. And these people are telling me that they've not spoke to anybody. So these people can be amongst you. This is what the problem is people think that they can tell when someone's feeling a bit down and stuff like that, but they're not speaking. And I'm trying to say to people, you need to speak to somebody. Just tell somebody, tell your gran, tell your mum, tell your next door neighbor, tell your friend. If you can't tell your wife, tell somebody how you're feeling, because I feel that they can't. And that's the most dangerous thing, because what the feeling is all that nobody will understand. Yes, because there's that many now that are in the same boat. And what I'm trying to say is that there's so many in the same boat. You're not alone. You're not on your own. You're not the only person that's having these thoughts, that you feel as though you can't cope. You feel as though you can't support your family. You feel as though you're drowning. You feel as though there's more and more debt going to come on top of you. You're not the only person. There's so many more out there. So please speak and just tell someone.
We can go on and on with this, Dave, but as you clearly said, I think it gets worse before it gets better anytime soon, unfortunately.
100%. And yeah, and sorry to bang on about it. It's just I'm dealing with this. Like I said, I'm dealing with this now. It's difficult. But this is why I get that there's people suffering worse than what we are. I get there's people that are dying. I get there's people in hospitals. I understand that. But every time I get on the motorway, I see there's been an accident. Every motorway I get on, wherever I go, from here to London, from here to Manchester, wherever, from here to Leeds, there's an accident. There's always an accident every time I get on a motorway. It has never once made me think, shit, that could be me. I'm not driving again. Shit, that could be me. I'm not going to go on a motorway again. Now, how many actual accidents is there? There's loads of accidents on a motorway. There's loads of accidents in a car. Every car accident. It doesn't stop me from getting my car every day and going and getting about my business. There's COVID out there. There's people going to get affected. But there's 99% of people that's not going to. So let the 99% of the people go to work, earn a living, live the life the best that they can. Because out of that 99% of people that are going to be safe from COVID or not, going to have a bit of flu symptoms from COVID, how many percent out of that 99% will get eaten up by mental health issues, by financial stresses and strains, poverty, kids not being able to eat, kids going to school in shoes that have got holes in? How many people can be affected by that? And other things. So it's like, I just think that we kind of need to look after the vulnerable and let them, give them a choice. Listen, if you want to I know 80-year-olds that are still going to go to the shop and stuff, because like, look, I'm 80 years old, I might die tomorrow, but I want to see my grandkids. I want to go and see people. I don't want to be locked in an house because I might get COVID and die. I might die of old age. I know people like that. But then I also know other pensioners that's like, I'm not going anywhere because I'm scared. Fair enough. So have the choice. Do you want to exist or do you want to live? And you have the choice. But to take that choice away from everybody, like closing gyms down, when that does a lot for your mental health as well as physical health. Whose right is it to tell people that have got cancer, they can't come in for treatments, or they're delayed on the screenings and delayed on the scans and things like that because we're having to prioritize COVID. Whose choice is that? You know. End of chat. End of COVID shit. I've had enough.
Dave, big news came out this week. Tyson Fury announcing that the Trilogy fight, well, not Tyson Fury announcing, but Bob Arum, Frank Warren have all come out and said the Trilogy fight is not happening. Bob Arum even went to the extent to say that the time frame had expired. We had a date in July, we had a date in October. It's now December. They don't want it. They want to push it even further. And it looks like Tyson Fury is going to have a homecoming early part of December. Question is, really, does Deontay Wilder not want this fight?
I said when the fight got announced about this trilogy, straight after that hammering that he got, I was like, why would he want to go straight in there? If I was looking after him, I wouldn't want him to go straight in there because it wasn't just one shot. He got absolutely took apart. He didn't have a clue. He got he got embarrassed. Mentally, he's got to get over that. Let him come back with a win. A nice win. Back to that power punching, knockout. Let him have a confidence builder. Have time to learn from the first fight and the rematch, and then let the AJ Fury fight happen and fight the winner. So when this news has come out, I think it's the best thing for Deontay Wilder. And to be honest, I wasn't interested in that trilogy fight because the first two fights, albeit 2 moments of 2 rounds in the first fight, everything else was all Tyson Fury. So I couldn't really get excited about that one. Now let Fury have his homecoming fight. That'd be good. He's been boxing away from home for quite a while. Hopefully, there's some sort of crowding. And then let's go to the big one, AJ and Fury, and then the winner of that can fight Wilder or whatever that means.
Obviously, we know Deontay Wilder obviously split with Mark Breland. We heard about that about 2 weeks ago. So, but why do you feel like they've left it this late to make that decision? Was that to frustrate Fury? Is that they weren't sure, hesitant?
Without being in that camp, it's very, very hard to say because it could be a case of, oh, come on, let's do something. Let's see how you're getting on, and it just not clicking. The Breland situation, are they bringing somebody else in? Do they want to bring somebody else in? I thought, oh, listen, we need a settled camp. We need to, have somebody in there for a long duration. There could be a number of reasons, or like you say, it could have all have been just a case of messing around. Leave it till last minute, or even maybe listen. Let's see how his head is. And some days his head's great, some days he's not. You don't know unless you're in that camp. It's very difficult to say.
Who would you like to see Fury in December? There's all sorts of random talk about. I know Lucas Brown did an Instagram video, said I want to fight Fury. Otto Allen said I want a rematch. Oscar Rivas maybe, but who gives him problems or can give him a hard fight?
I don't know who gives him problems. I think the one that I'd like to see, because I like him as a fighter, I like him as a guy, is Michael Hunter. He's just small, but he's got that speed. He's got the speed and he's athletic. Maybe Hunter. Rivas is a good shout, but I just think with that style and the size of him, I don't think he's getting anywhere near Fury enough times, to be honest. Other than that, who else is there? It's very hard because outside elite level, there's a big gulf. So probably Hunter. Rivas, I wouldn't have a problem with. I think because Rivas is, that he's going to come and he's going to bring it and he's going to try and make it exciting. It's just that I think he's just too small, and I just don't. I can't see unless Fury just literally couldn't be arsed and he wasn't up for it, then that's the thing about what's his face, Otto Wallen. Fury, he was a really good fight, but Fury couldn't be arsed, and he wasn't. He didn't have that fear factor. For me, Tyson Fury needs that bit of fear factor, not even fear, I suppose, but just a bit of a challenge. It feels that someone needs to be able to challenge him in some way, and then he's really up for it. Because it's very hard when you've climbed such a mountain, when you're all the way up there, and you've done what he's done. I suppose it's very hard going into a fight against a guy that's kind of like you don't see on your sort of level, and you look at stylistically and think, well, how can you give me problems? So it kind of, at least somebody like Hunter might throw shots, from different angles, with good speed. It's a difficult fight for Hunter. It's a difficult fight for anyone, but I think stylistically, I'd probably like to see that one a little bit more.
What do you think was going through Dylan White's kind of mind when he heard that Wilder's not having this fight? Potentially, if Dylan had beaten Povetkin, this could have been that opportunity for him.
Didn't make any difference. He didn't beat Povetkin. I would hope nothing was going through Dylan's mind about that. He's just thinking, well, I'm just going to make sure I beat Povetkin. That's it. That it doesn't matter. This is the thing. It is when other fights and other situations happening, makes no difference to your career unless it's directly involving your career right at that moment in time. If you're Tyson Fury and you're supposed to be fighting Deontay Wilder, then when Deontay Wilder turns around, or when you hear that Deontay Wilder's not taking that fight, then yeah, you're pissed off, or that you're thinking, well, I could have done this, I've wasted my time, or whatever, because that's directly affecting you. But when you've got your own shit going on and you're not in that equation or conversation, it don't make any difference. It's you've just got to carry on with your own career.
Okay, well, we'll wait and see what happens with that announcement. Just before I let you go, it looks like it's going to be announced. It's imminent. Someone who lives nearby you, not too far away, Kell Brook, traveling to America to fight Terence Crawford. The date that's been floated around is the 14th of November. Eddie Hearn's come out and said that he's left Kell and his dad to just do the negotiations. Dominic Ingle has confirmed that he is not training Kell Brook for this fight. What does that, from the outside, what does that seem like to you? What is Kell doing here? Is this farewell? Is this, I'm taking my last big fight and that's it?
Rolling that dice. You're just chucking that dice in that pot and seeing what numbers come up. He perhaps can't get up for a normal fight, or especially in these times, whether he'll be looking at it. I think, well, I'm not going to get paid anything near what's worth my while. A fight, for a comeback fight or whatever. Let me get the biggest fight out there. My main concerns for Kell is, number one, it's Terence Crawford, and number two, it's at welterweight. I think they're just two massive obstacles for him. Yeah, I think Crawford's a fantastic fighter. The other thing about Crawford that I worry for is, going forward, is his status not getting the marquee fights, and the fact that he's now 33. Time is just going, and for a guy that's so exciting and so talented, he's just not, he's not had the big marquee fights. But at welterweight, Kell coming down to welterweight again at this stage of his career, I think that in itself's a battle, a big battle. And Terence Crawford's phenomenally talented, but Kell's going to go out there and give it everything he's got, 100%. But it's a very tough fight. It's a very tough fight. I'll listen. It's an exciting fight. I think it's a brilliant fight. When you look at, he'll have fought Golovkin, Spence, and Crawford. They're big fights.
you said Terence hasn't had those marquee fights, but do you kind of feel sorry for him and blame it more on boxing politics? We've seen Joshua Wilder didn't happen
100%.
when they were both undefeated, and most of the top welterweights are with PVC and Al Heyman, and obviously him with Bob Arum and Top Rank. It's far difficult to make those fights.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming Terence Crawford at all. I'm a massive fan of his. For me, him and Lomachenko, boom. And I've been a fan of Crawford's for a long, long time. And I did cuts for Ricky Burns against him. That's when you see up close and you're like, wow, this kid's good. So I've been a fan of his for a long time. And yeah, I'm gutted for him, but that's what I'm saying is that's the worry for somebody of his talent and ability, not getting those big marquee fights. It's a shame, you know. But hopefully, these big fights, cross promotions and things like that will start occurring more because of the situation they're in. Because maybe it forces promoters to start working together. Hopefully.
All right, Dave, that was 35 minutes. Time has flown by. Honestly, time has actually flown by today. But I appreciate you jumping on today. I'm sure I'm going to message you again in about 2 weeks' time and say, let's talk Chisora Usyk, because that's in 2 weeks' time. So I'll reserve that for.
God, is that 2 weeks? Jesus, yeah. This month's flying.
Yeah, 2 weeks Saturday.
Absolutely flying. Wow.
I'll definitely message you beforehand just to get an in-depth breakdown of that fight. Obviously, you've worked with Derek before, and you fought and planned for Usyk with Tony, so it'd be great insight from you. But I appreciate you jumping on, Dave, and we'll
cheers, mate.
Catch up with you soon. Dave Coldwell for IFL TV. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.